Incredible billionaire discovers little girl sleeping in park, an unexpected transformation awaits. Jake Lawson walked through the park like a ghost among the living. The crisp night air barely touched him as he brushed past those enjoying the vibrant nightlife. With every lavish gathering he attended as a billionaire, a sense of connection slipped further away. He had it all: money, status, and power, but the hollow feeling in his chest never faded. The weight of his hollow victories pressed down on him like an anchor as he rounded a corner. That's when he saw her. A small figure on a bench, asleep and clutching a scruffy teddy bear. His heart tightened. This little girl, with tangled hair and a faded pink coat, was the only reminder of innocence amidst the sparkling city lights. He hesitated, drawn in by her calmness. Jake knelt beside her, battling with his own privilege. He wanted to shout for help, but instead, he quietly observed. When her eyes fluttered open and met his, he felt a spark of something that had long been extinguished within him, resilience mingling with fear. "Who are you?" she mumbled, uncertainty lacing her voice. "Just someone passing by," he replied softly, searching for answers in her gaze. He needed to know her story. Days turned into weeks, and Jake uncovered the truth of Maya's life. Her family had crumbled under the burden of economic hardship. Her father's job was gone, her mother's spirit dimmed. Jake felt an ache in his chest that money could not resolve. Struck by her courage, he offered them temporary shelter, but the community turned its back on him, deeming him a wealthy outsider playing the hero. "You don't understand our struggles," they accused, their words stinging like ice. Jake's intention to help had faltered in the judgment of those he sought to save. So, he organized a charity gala. He envisioned the funds raised would provide a lifeline. Instead, it drew a bold line: the locals felt exploited, not aided. Their disdain cut deep, forcing Jake to confront the truth: money wasn't a cure for the divide. Before Jake could grasp his own direction, tragedy struck. Maya's father was arrested over a desperate act of survival, grinding the community into an even deeper mistrust of the wealthy. In that moment, Jake faced the truth: a system rigged against families like Maya's and a privilege blinded to the reality outside its golden gates. "I need to do more than just write a check," Jake whispered, suddenly understanding that true transformation meant playing a larger role. He pictured scholarships for kids like Maya, job training programs for parents, and fostering dialogue to bridge the gap. But would the community ever accept him? Would he be able to break the invisible wall dividing them? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jake looked into Maya's hopeful eyes, hearts intertwined in this weary world. Suddenly the stakes felt higher, the battles ahead daunting, but a glimmer of hope danced between them. "I'll fight for you," he vowed silently, bracing himself for the enormity of what lay ahead. Would love and determination be enough to dissolve a life built on walls? Or would he forever remain an outsider in the very community he wanted to uplift? Jake woke up that morning feeling a weight that settled in his stomach. The sun poured through his apartment window, illuminating untouched stacks of paperwork scattered across his desk. He always found it hard to gather the motivation for a day filled with business meetings and strategy calls. But today, it felt different. Today was about Maya. That he left the glass and steel towers behind, trading them for the rhythm of the streets that led him back to the park. Jake could hardly breathe. He needed to be closer to her, to the hope she had ignited. As he walked, an old man with a wool hat and a thick beard looked his way, eyes twinkling beneath bushy brows. "Lost something, son?" he asked, his voice gruff yet warm. Jake paused, caught off guard. "No, just looking for something worth finding." The man nodded knowingly, as if he held the secret to life. Jake continued on, reflecting on how easy it was to overlook the simple joys of the world while buried in wealth. The park welcomed him with its familiar trees and blended laughter and embrace he didn't know he craved. That he spotted Maya sitting on the bench again, this time drawing in the dirt with a stick. A flood of warmth rushed through him. What would it mean to her if he wasn't just the guy in a suit but someone willing to fight alongside her? Maya, he called, adorning his voice with the excitement of a child. She looked up, her eyes widening as recognition crossed her face. Mr. Lawson. She squealed, abandoning her stick and running toward him, arms outstretched. Jake knelt, catching her in a joyful embrace that filled him with an emotion he thought he lost. Didn't I tell you? You can call me Jake, he said, smiling as she pulled back to examine him with curiosity. Okay, Jake, she nodded, her tiny voice brightening his spirits. I'm drawing a treasure map. Wanna see? Absolutely. He followed her back to the bench, sitting beside her. The simple act grounded him amid the chaos of adult life. As they connected over scribbled lines and imagined treasures, Jake felt the ache in his chest lighten. I want to help you and your family, Maya, he confessed, careful not to overwhelm the little girl. But I don't just want to throw money at your problems. I want us to make a plan together. Her brow furrowed. A plan? Yes. We could create a program for kids and their parents. Something that helps you all find jobs and scholarships and a way to dream again, he explained, unable to suppress the excitement bubbling inside his chest. The brightness in her eyes dimmed slightly as she bit her lip. But, what if nobody wants to help? Jake felt the sting of honesty in her words. We can show them the truth, what we can create together. He paused. But for that, I might need your help. Will you be my partner? Maya blinked, considering his words. Then, as if making up her mind, she nodded solemnly, a small smile creeping onto her lips. Okay. But we need to find a treasure first. Deal. Jake laughed, feeling lighter than he had in years. As they brainstormed ideas for their treasure map, a muted sound behind them caught Jake's attention. Heavy footsteps approached, and he turned to see several adults from the community, their faces amid wariness and confusion. He sensed the tension hanging in the air. Hey, we noticed you hanging around here again, one man said, arms crossed defensively. What's your angle, Lawson? Jake stood, heart racing. This was the moment. Did he have the courage to face them? I want to help, he replied, voice steady. Not for charity, but for change. Their expressions remained unreadable, but he could feel the weight of their scrutiny. Would they see his sincerity, or would the wall he'd been trying to break collapse around him? Faced with the stakes ahead, Jake silently questioned if he could ever win them over or if he was simply risking everything for an uncertain dream. Jake steadied himself, heart pounding in his chest. Each face stared back at him, a mosaic of suspicion and cautious hope. He could almost hear the murmurs rippling through the small group. What did this wealthy man want? He took a deep breath, forcing himself to focus on Maya. Her small frame stood resolute beside him, her bright eyes a lighthouse in the storm of uncertainty swirling around them. I know what you might think, Jake continued. I'm just a businessman, right? But spending time here, with Maya, has changed everything for me. This isn't about money. It's about opportunities, real opportunities for families like hers. A woman in the crowd stepped forward, skepticism etched across her brow. And why should we trust you? You come in, all suited up, like you own the place. Jake felt the weight of her words like a tightrope beneath his feet. You're right. I'm not from here. I don't know your struggles personally. But I want to change that. I want to understand. Together, we can build something that lasts. A man in the back scoffed. You think you can just waltz in and change lives? It's not that easy. I'm not here to take over. I'm here to listen, Jake replied, his voice firm yet gentle. I want to know what your dreams are, not just dreams for the kids, but yours too. What do you want for your families? Let us brainstorm that. Maya squeezed his hand, grounding him. He shot her a nervous smile, grateful for her unwavering faith in him. See. Jake motioned to the little girl who was now beaming with pride. She believes we can find treasure, and I think we can too. So, how about we start there? What would be the first step to building something together? There was a flicker of uncertainty in the group. Jake caught glimpses of hope mixed with skepticism. He needed to break through that wall more than ever. One woman, her features softening, finally spoke up. I want a better life for my son. But I've had too many empty promises, you know. Her voice trembled, the weight of her words hanging heavy in the air. I get it, Jake said, his heart aching for her. And I promise you, I'm not here for empty promises. I want to work alongside you, to build something real. But I need your voice to help direct it. The atmosphere shifted slightly, as if the crowd was leaning into him, to one another. He glanced at Maya, her small face scrunching in thought, and he felt an unexpected surge of hope. What if we held a meeting? Another voice chimed in, a man who had stood at the back, observing silently. Gather everyone who wants to be involved. Show them what ideas we can come up with together. That essay start, Jake nodded enthusiastically, sensing the shift in the energy. Let us make it happen. The murmurs around him started to morph, as conversations sprang to life. A plan was forming, and for the first time, wearing his suit didn't feel like a barrier, but rather a bridge. Suddenly, a loud beep shattered the moment, a car horn echoed through the park, cutting through their burgeoning excitement. Jake turned to see a luxury vehicle parked by the curb, its sleek exterior glaring amid the natural scenery. Whoops, looks like my ride is here, he mumbled, frowning. But I won't go far. Until we meet again, I'll be thinking of the next steps. As he turned back to the group, he noticed a myriad of expressions: curiosity, renewed skepticism, and perhaps just a hint of faith forming in their midst. We'll get together, right? Jake asked, a hopeful tone underlying his words. I want this to be a real partnership. They nodded cautiously, and he felt that flicker of potential igniting. As Jake walked away, a part of him felt lighter. But shadows of doubt lingered in his mind. Was he just a pawn in a game larger than himself? He couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning, and challenges lay ahead that would test not only his resolve but also the fragile trust of a community that guarded their hearts tightly. As he glanced back at Maya, still smiling brightly, he wondered, could this little girl's faith in him be the spark that illuminated a path worth following? With the weight of their questions pressing down on him, he stepped into the unknown, ready for whatever lay ahead. What would it take to truly win them over? What trials awaited him in this pursuit of hope? The next morning, Jake awoke to the soft light filtering through his bedroom window, but the weight of yesterday's meeting lingered in his mind. He pushed himself off the pillows, remembering the cautious glances and the flickers of hope scattered among the crowd. After a quick shower and a hastily made breakfast, he grabbed his laptop. His morning workout felt replaced by a different kind of training, a mental marathon, preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. He mapped out everything he could do to connect with the community and bring real change. Each bullet point on his digital notepad felt like a small step towards building trust. Jake made a deliberate decision this morning. He'd turn his suit into the armor needed to protect not just himself, but the hearts of those he was there to help. His phone buzzed. It was a message from Maya. Hi. Are you coming back to the park today? Everyone's excited about the meeting. A smile tugged at his lips. Her enthusiasm was like a shot of caffeine, energizing his resolve. Yes, I'll be there. Can't wait to see everyone's ideas. He arrived at the park earlier than planned, hoping to soak in the energy before the crowd gathered. As he strolled along the path, he took a moment to appreciate the laughter of children playing nearby, the gentle rustle of leaves in the cool breeze, and the scent of fresh grass in the air. It reminded him that there was life, real life, within these families. Then, he spotted Maya sitting on a bench, her legs swinging, and waves of excitement washed over his anxious heart. She waved him over, her little face beaming. "Jake! Look! I told them you were coming." Around her, a small group had begun to form, moms and dads, their faces still a blend of skepticism and hope. Jake felt that familiar rush of nervous energy in his stomach. Standing in front of them again, he cleared his throat, catching their attention. "Thank you all for coming today. I know this isn't just a meeting, it's a chance to voice your dreams." The crowd stirred with murmurs. He could see Maya's wide eyes searching his face for reassurance. "Let us start by sharing what you envision for our community. The floor is open." A middle-aged woman spoke first. "We need a place for our kids to play safely, more than just this park." Jake nodded, mentally noting each word. "Okay, a safe space for kids. What else?" A man raised his hand tentatively. "Job training programs for parents. We want to be able to support our families better." "Yes. Jobs that offer real futures." Jake encouraged. The ideas began to flow like a steady stream, each suggestion building upon the last, igniting sparks of determination. As the meeting continued, the atmosphere shifted. It felt less like Jake the outsider speaking to the community and more like a collaborative effort. Each person offered their hopes, fears, and dreams, while Maya sat beside him, her radiant joy infusing him with courage. When they finished, Jake felt overwhelmed in a good way. This was more than he anticipated, and it came with a sense of responsibility. "You've given me a lot to think about. I'm here to serve you, not lead you." A shy voice piped up from the back, "So what's next?" His heart raced. "We turn these ideas into actions," he replied, a fire igniting within him. "We'll start forming committees to work on each project. I'll be here to help." As the crowd erupted in a flurry of excitement over who would want to be involved, Jake noticed Maya looking up at him with shining eyes, proud of what they had accomplished together. But amidst their hopes, a shadow passed across his mind. Would he truly be able to keep these promises? Could he navigate the complexities of a community ready for change while ensuring he won their trust? Driving back home later, he felt both exhilarated and deeply reflective. The community had opened a door, and he was stepping through it, but at what cost? What if they depended on him and he let them down? As doubts crept in, he realized the real test hadn't just begun, it was already unfolding. What unforeseen obstacles would he encounter in this journey toward hope? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the park, Jake eased his car to a stop. He parked next to a towering oak tree, its branches swaying gently in the soft evening breeze. He leaned back in his seat, trying to quiet the storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. The community had thrown itself open to him, and now he held their hopes in his hands. But what if he dropped them? With his pulse racing, Jake stepped out and walked back to the park, each step heavier than the last. He needed fresh air, a break from the vibrant energy that had charged him earlier. He spotted Maya at the playground, her laughter bubbling like a fountain. She was swinging, soaring high into the air, unburdened by the weight of adult concerns. God, he wished he could feel that carefree. "Maya!" he called, waving as she flew down and landed on her feet. The rush of wind in her hair seemed to emphasize her spirit. "Want to go grab some ice cream?" Her face lit up, and she dashed toward him, grasping his hand with a grip that felt electric. "Can we get sprinkles?" "Of course. Anything you want." As they strolled to the ice cream stand nearby, she chattered away about her dreams being a vet, rescuing animals, and how she wanted to feed the ducks tomorrow. Each syllable was filled with unfiltered joy, and for a moment, Jake felt the weight on his shoulders ease. But as they reached the stand, a burst of laughter from a group of teenagers broke through their bubble. Jake felt tugged back to the responsibility he couldn't shake. The smiles of the kids brought warmth, but he knew that not everyone in the community felt so light-hearted. Inside him, the doubt stirred again. "What flavor do you want?" he asked, attempting to distract himself as they perused the options. Mango. With chocolate sprinkles. Maya responded, excitement radiating from her. Jake ordered them both the mango with sprinkles and settled on a bench nearby. The two of them took a bite, and Maya giggled when the sprinkles fell onto her lap. That laughter felt like balm on his fretting heart, and he remembered the conversations from earlier. The dreams he was now a part of. Did they see him as a hero or just another suit? Jake. Maya's voice broke his thoughts. She stared at him with those big, trusting eyes. What are you really gonna do for the playground? Her question felt like a pebble thrown into a still pond, creating ripples of uncertainty. I want to make sure it's a safe place, with swings and slides, where all kids can play. But it needs more than just ideas. What if they don't let us do it? What if we can't fix it? Her innocence made each what if heavier. The weight of her questions settled on him. Would they really let him help? Or was this just a dream that might crumble? I'm going to do my best, I promise, Jake said, his voice steady, though uncertainty crept into his chest. But sometimes things don't go as planned. And that's okay. Maya nodded, her small brows furrowing in thought. You're not gonna give up, right? Her belief in him filled him with a warm glow, but it also scared him. Never. I won't give up. And I'll make sure you have that playground. You can count on me. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jake realized that the shadows marring the park were no different than those lurking in the corners of his mind. It was going to be a struggle, but for the sake of these kids, for Maya, he had to fight. Driving back home later that night, he felt the soft tug of determination settle alongside his doubts. But with the promise in his heart, Jake wondered, what would he do next? Would he go to the town hall and challenge the bureaucrats, or seek out allies in unexpected places? The journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty, but it was also filled with possibility. And Maya's hopeful gaze kept him steady. That he just hoped he wouldn't let her down. Jake woke up the next morning with a sense of urgency that propelled him out of bed. He needed to take action, and he felt the weight of his promise to Maya like an anchor pulling him toward the crucial decisions ahead. As the coffee brewed, he scribbled a list of possible allies, teachers, parents, community leaders, anyone who had a stake in the playground's future. With a quick breakfast and a heart racing with determination, he set out for the park, his mind a jumble of plans. Today was the day he would start rallying support. As he stepped into the sunlight, he felt a swell of hope push aside the lingering shadows from the night before. But doubt crept in again. Who would really back him? When Jake arrived at the park, the scene was a mix of familiar sights and sounds. Kids ran around, laughter floated through the air, but he could still see the worn-out playground equipment lurking in the background, peeling paint and broken swings serving as stark reminders of the work ahead. Hey, Jake! A voice called out. It was Mrs. Thompson, the school principal. She approached with an armful of event flyers. We're organizing a community fundraiser next week. Have you thought more about that playground idea? There was an opening. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about it, Jake replied, mirroring the enthusiasm he saw in her eyes. Maya had asked me what we could do, and I thought if we could rally some families and get the ball rolling, maybe we could save that playground together. Mrs. Thompson raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Now that's a worthwhile project. I know a few parents who would be more than willing to contribute if we can create a solid plan. His pulse quickened. This was more than just a conversation, it was a potential turning point. I want to make sure it's a place where every kid feels safe to play, but I'll need a lot of help to take the first steps. Do you think you could help gather some parents for a meeting? Of course. She said, her smile contagious. Let's aim for next Saturday. We can discuss ideas and see what everyone can contribute. Her enthusiasm felt like a steam behind his resolve. As they talked, the park transformed in Jake's mind from a mere playground to a shared vision. He could already see bright colors where the rust had settled, laughter replacing the silence of abandonment. A young couple strolled by with their toddler, and Jake couldn't resist. Excuse me. He called out, almost startling them. Would you be interested in helping us plan a community fundraiser for the playground? They paused, intrigued. We care about our park, the father said. Count us in. That spark spread. One by one, more families joined in, swelling in numbers and energy. Ideas buzzed in the air like a live wire: bake sales, car washes, silent auctions. Each proposal brought an electric thrill that Jake hadn't felt before. But then, just as his excitement peaked, doubt crept back in. What if the town council rejected their efforts? What if all of this banking on hope ended up in disappointment? The image of Maya's hopeful face settled in his thoughts, a reminder of why he was fighting this battle. He couldn't let her down. The community couldn't afford more empty promises. They needed progress. Okay, folks. Jake announced, trying to shield his worry. Let us meet again next week at the park to draft a proposal. I promise I'll bring everyone together, and we'll make something amazing happen. As they each nodded and chatted among themselves, Jake felt a surge of determination flooding through him. They were building momentum, littering assumptions with hope. Walking home that day, Jake's heart felt lighter. He had allies. Maybe they were all a little afraid of failure, but for now, they were moving forward together. But just as he reached his driveway, a text pinged on his phone, a message from a community member with a single line that made his heart fall. Have you heard about the council meeting next week? They're planning to vote on the park's closure. His stomach churned as realization hit. Time was not on their side, and they were up against more than just broken swings. Would he be able to unify the community in time, or was this dream slipping away before it even began? Jake didn't sleep well that night. Uncertainty gnawed at his stomach as he stared at the ceiling, replaying the day's events. The laughter of children echoed in his mind, but it was drowned out by the looming threat of the council meeting. What if their efforts weren't enough? The next morning, determined not to waste any time, Jake grabbed his notebook and headed to the park early. The light of dawn painted the playground in soft hues, but it did little to lift the weight on his heart. He sat on a bench and began to jot down notes for the meeting. He envisioned bright banners showcasing their plans, families gathered around sharing ideas, and the joyous noise of children playing without a care. As he wrote, Jake felt a presence beside him. He turned to see Maya, her wide eyes gleaming with curiosity. What are you doing here so early? She asked, her hair catching the morning light like a halo. I'm working on our playground project, he said, forcing a smile. We have to make a lot of plans before the council meeting. She nodded seriously, taking a seat beside him. I want to help. Can I? Her determination struck a chord within him. Of course, you can. Every idea counts. Maya beamed and leaned closer to read his notes. They began bouncing ideas off each other, filling page after page with their visions for a revitalized space. What if we have a mural? Something colorful that shows how much we love the park. She suggested, her enthusiasm infectious. I love it. Jake replied, feeling his worries slowly dissolve in the face of their united front. As they exchanged thoughts, other kids began arriving, drawn to the energy buzzing in the air. Soon, Jake found himself surrounded by a small group, all eager to share what the playground meant to them. They spoke of swings that made them feel like they could fly, slides that felt like roller coasters, and climbing frames where friendships were built. Their innocent voices, filled with excitement and hope, sparked a fire deep in Jake's heart. He realized that this wasn't just about saving a playground, it was about creating a community where everyone belonged and no child felt alone. With each passing moment, ideas transformed into action. They organized a mini-meeting right there on the grass, appointing roles and responsibilities. Jake felt more confident than ever, buoyed by the enthusiasm of the kids. They planned a peaceful protest before the council meeting, holding signs that showcased their love for the playground and their determination to save it. By the end of the morning, not only had they created a plan, but they also uncovered a shared passion that connected them all. Jake glanced at Maya, her eyes sparkling with excitement as she clutched a crayon sketch of their playground dreams. This was what he needed: unity, passion, and action. Just as he felt a wave of hope, his phone buzzed again. It was a message from Mrs. Thompson. Urgent update, their essay rally tonight about the park's future. We need to show up. Panic surged through him like ice water. They only had a few hours to prepare. Would everyone rally together in time to make their voices heard? Could they really turn the tide in their favor? As he rallied the kids to spread the word, Jake's heart raced with the thrill of possibility, but he couldn't shake the fear. Tonight would be crucial. Would they find the support they needed, or would time slip away, leaving them powerless once again? Jake's heart thudded in his chest as he watched the kids disperse, their excitement palpable as they ran to spread the news of the rally. The bright afternoon sun beat down on him, but a cold knot of anxiety clung to his insides. Would this really work? Maya tugged at his sleeve, pulling him from his thoughts. Jake! What should I do first? He looked down at her, her enthusiasm a bright spark in the thick air of uncertainty. Let's start by making some fun, colorful posters. We need to grab attention. She grinned, clapping her hands together as they headed to her house. The two of them sprawled across the living room floor, surrounded by markers, glitter, and cardboard. They sketched out ideas, giggling as they planned slogans like "Save Our Playground" and "Let Kids Play." Maya's laughter made Jake feel lighter. It was infectious, sweeping away the clouds of worry that hovered over him. They reminisced over their favorite memories from the park, running through the grass, sharing secrets, and the time Maya convinced Jake to climb the tallest tree. As the afternoon faded into evening, they gathered all their supplies and made their way back to the park. The atmosphere was buzzing with energy. Families were trickling in, curious about the rally. Jake felt a rush of pride as he saw the kids displaying their homemade signs in spirited unity. Look at all the people! Maya exclaimed, her eyes round with disbelief and wonder. They're here for us. Jake scanned the crowd, feeling a swell of hope. Parents mingled with children, conversations bubbling around him like fireworks. He could see Mrs. Thompson sorting through a stack of pamphlets, ready to share the story of the park with everyone. When it was time for the rally to begin, Jake stepped up to speak, taking a deep breath to steady himself. The sight of all those faces staring back at him made his pulse quicken. Thank you all for being here tonight. Together, we can show the council how much our playground means to us. The crowd erupted in cheers, echoing their shared purpose. He felt invincible, emboldened by the strength of his community. As speeches and testimonials filled the air, Jake turned to Maya. You're going to be a great leader someday. She looked up, her confidence shining. I just want everyone to be happy, Jake. He nodded, feeling warmth spread in his chest. It was not just about the park, it was about coming together, supporting one another. Children and families truly united in something bigger, but just as Jake felt a surge of optimism, a shadow cast over the crowd. He spotted a group of council members approaching, their expressions unreadable. A wave of fear washed over him. What if they dismissed them? Jake's stomach churned as they took their seats at the front, glancing around at the prepared crowd. Would their heartfelt messages resonate with them? Would anyone listen? As the speeches continued, he struggled against his forming doubt. What if they planned too much and still not enough? He prayed for a moment that would change everything right then and there, and then, without warning, a voice rose above, cutting through his anxious thoughts. It was a child, small and earnest, standing proudly at the edge of the crowd. Our playground is our home. Don't take it away. Jake felt every eye turn toward the child, every heart caught in that simple truth. That was it, he thought. That was the voice they needed, the voice that could tip the scale in their favor. Could they really galvanize support tonight, or was this just a dream that would vanish with tomorrow's light? The cheers from the crowd seemed to swell in Jake's chest, filling him with a buoyant hope he couldn't contain. The child's words hung in the air, resonating like a bell. Our playground is our home. Don't take it away. Jake could see the council members lean in, their attention shifting, perhaps even softening. He glanced at Maya, her wide eyes sparkling with determination as she watched the individual in the crowd step forward. More children began to speak up, little voices cascading into an undulating sea of passion. Each tapping into a reservoir of pure emotion. "We love to play," shouted a boy with a bright red cap. "We want to climb and swing," echoed a girl, her ponytail bouncing as she gestured heartily. Their innocence brightened the evening, transforming the atmosphere into something electric. Jake couldn't resist. He stepped closer to the gathering and raised his hand, calling out. "Let us not just tell them what we want. Let us show them." With renewed energy, the kids began to leap into action, creating an impromptu playground in front of the council members. They twisted and spun, mimicking the swings, the monkey bars, the slides, all within the confines of their imagination. Laughter escaped their lips, their joy spilling into the crowd, enticing more families to join in. Suddenly, movement caught Jake's eye. A small figure was weaving through the grass. It was Maya, her face showing delight and mischief as she coordinated everyone's actions, a natural leader in the making. The other kids followed her lead, their giggles echoing like music. Jake felt a rush of pride. He couldn't believe how strong, how united, these kids had become in mere moments. This was bigger than just saving a playground, it was about creating memories, building friendships, and forging a safe space for themselves. With each cheer and burst of playful energy, Jake watched the expressions of the council members shift. He noticed a whisper exchanged between them, a hint of concern coloring their faces. Was it doubt? Regret? He felt the air hum with anticipation. If they could just reach those decision-makers, make them truly understand what the playground meant. Not just as swings and slides, but as a place for laughter, lessons, and life. Suddenly, Jess, one of the older kids, stood at the forefront and took a deep breath. Her courage was contagious. "This park is where I learned to ride my bike. I fell a million times but got up each time because it was my home." Jake felt a lump in his throat. Jess's words echoed his own memories. He remembered the time he skinned his knee learning to ride there, how his mom kissed the scrape, and how resilient the laughter of friends made him feel. As Jake took a moment to catch his breath, the community had transformed into a tapestry of stories, each thread vibrant, each tale stitching them closer together. But as the rally surged with emotion, the pulse of determination palpable, one council member stood, tall and stern, raising a hand for silence. A dramatic pause gripped him tight, and Jake's heart pounded painfully. This was the moment of truth. What would the council decide after all this? Would they truly listen? The council member cleared his throat, and Jake's mind raced. What would he say? Could they take the hopes of so many and strangle them with a single word? An uneasy silence fell. Jake felt the air heavy, enveloping the crowd in anticipation. What awaited them just beyond this breath? In the quietest moment, he realized, it wasn't just the council's decision that lay ahead, it was their own determination. Would they continue to fight for what felt like home? The urgency of that thought burned in his chest. Then, the council member took a small step forward, and Jake held his breath, wondering if he could withstand whatever words would spill forth next. The council member's voice echoed through the night air, cutting through the tension like a knife. "We've heard your voices, the passion and promise tucked within your words," he said, scanning the crowd filled with expectant faces. A faint flicker of hope ignited within Jake's chest. "This park has been a cornerstone for many," the man continued. "And we understand that a playground is not just a few slides and swings, it's a community." Murmurs spread through the crowd, rising like the tide. People shifted, uncertainty warring with excitement. Jake felt Maya clutch his hand tightly, her small fingers trembling with anticipation. But, the council member paused, raising a finger, and silence fell once again. "We have to ensure we can sustainably maintain such an important space. It can't be just about fixing it, it has to be lasting change." As his words hung suspended in the air, Jake's mind raced back to the plans he had sketched out, those dreams shared with Maya and the kids. They had found a way to unite their voices, but would that collective effort truly pierce the wall of bureaucracy? "I'd like to propose a partnership," the council member continued, his expression softening. "We can work together to revitalize this playground not as a handout, but as a collaborative project. I'm prepared to take this idea to the council in more detail, but I need your commitment to keep this momentum alive." A ripple of excitement surged through the crowd, soft gasps of surprise and joy washing over them. They had a chance not just to save the playground but to actively be part of its transformation. Jake's heart raced. "We're in. We're committed," he shouted, jumping onto the spur of enthusiasm. The crowd erupted in cheers, folding into that singular moment of shared victory. The council member smiled, nodding with genuine warmth. "Let us turn those ideas into a plan, one that ensures this playground not only lives but thrives together. We'll host community workshops to gather input, and I'll also seek out funding opportunities that you can be part of." Tears glistened in Maya's eyes as she tightened her grip on Jake's hand. "We did it," she whispered, her face lighting up with disbelief and joy. Jake knelt beside her, enveloping her in a hug. "No, we're just getting started. There's so much more we can do," he murmured, feeling the weight of potential lift as the crowd moved closer, enveloping them with connection. Families started talking amongst themselves, some exchanged ideas, excitement revitalizing the air. Jake soaked it all in with a heart bursting with pride. From uncertain beginnings, they had built a community, turned fears into hopes, and the promise of the playground symbolizing something far greater had solidified into tangible realities. As the night wore on, conversations mingled with laughter, and the moon cast a gentle glow as shadows danced beneath the towering trees. Jake found himself standing back, watching the community celebrate a mixture of vulnerability and strength coalescing joyfully in the open air. A sense of purpose settled in his chest. He wasn't just a spectator anymore. He was part of something meaningful. Later that night, he walked with Maya toward that old, worn playground, now shimmering with possibility. "We did it, Jake. We made them listen," she said, bouncing by his side. "Yes, and we'll keep making our voices heard," he replied, feeling the quiet resolve take root. They would make this a safe haven, a treasure trove of memories for others, just as it had been for them. As they left the park together, a warm breeze blew through the trees, wrapping around them like a loving embrace. Jake had not only found his purpose but had also been transformed along the way. No longer just a billionaire with power, he became part of a tapestry woven with dreams, resilience, and community spirit. Each footstep echoed hope into the night, a promise that together they could bridge any chasm, forging ahead against any odds, because at that moment, they weren't just fighting for a playground, they were fighting for a home, for each other. If you resonated with this story, it's crucial to take action right now. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm, it truly makes a difference. And I want to hear from you. Comment your thoughts, feelings, and reactions about this heartwarming ending below. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see the power of transformation in our communities. Only true fans understand how much their support means in moments like this.